Ladies and gentlemen, they've done it. I can't believe it. Analogue is really going to tackle a brand new Game Boy, but it goes further than that. In fact, looking at what they've told us so far, and there are a lot of details to go over. We're going to go over all of them here. I wanted to put this in Newswave, but I started to look at how much information there was, and it would have been a massive amount of info to just pack into a section there. So I thought, you know what, we'll just do a separate video. I've been looking forward to this announcement for a little while after we saw the trademarks, because it did appear that a new Game Boy was going to be introduced, but it goes so much further than that. So much further. This is the Analogue Pocket. They put up an entire site all around showing this thing off. I'll leave it down below if you want to check it out yourself and kind of take a look through. So we're just gonna go through here and look at all the features, because there's quite a few to go through here. Mostly, there's gonna be some stuff about developers and everything too. I am, me personally, mostly interested in what this thing can do and some of the features for playing games, but I think it's great that developers will actually be able to use apparently a separate FPGA, like a separate chip, to develop on, which is pretty impressive. So here is the Pocket. Looks very clean, I think. Analogue makes some good products. I've reviewed so far I did the Mega SG and I did the Super NT. I have videos, both of those on the channel, taking them apart, talking about the quality inside and everything. A lot of times I'll get a product and that's what I'm really interested in, is how well it's built. And I've really had no major complaints about how they have built their other products. So I have a strong feeling this is going to be a very, very good feeling Game Boy. Just almost Pocket. We're just going to call it Analogue Pocket at this point. I don't even know if it's called a Game Boy, but it is going to be something else. Now, it's they go through quite a spiel here, and there's a lot of information to kind of take away. All right, so it's a multi-video game system portable handheld. That's right. It's not just Game Boy. That's what I was curious about when we saw the trademarks. Is this just going to be a Game Boy player, essentially, in your pocket? No, it's going to be quite a bit more than that. It's a digital audio workstation, built-in synthesizer, sequencer, a tribute to portable gaming. Out of the box, the Pocket is compatible with 2,780 plus Game Boy, Game Boy Color, and Game Boy Advance game cartridge library, just straight up. So you take it out, you can grab different Game Boy Color games, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy games. I'll be curious if they have any kind of list of compatibility, like if they just have a massive list, or as we, get the system and play it, we'll find out from there. I assume most of the standard ones will be compatible. Maybe some that are shaped a bit different, maybe they won't work. I don't know, because it doesn't seem like it's shaped that much different from a regular Game Boy. So who knows? We'll see. That's what I'm thinking, because there are some weird cartridges. There's Kirby, Tilt and Tumble, and like Pokemon Pinball, and some other weird shaped ones. But I'm gonna get this thing and we're gonna be checking it out. I'll see if I can have them send a review unit out like we did with the SG as well, and crack it open and everything. But here's the interesting thing: the Pocket works with cartridge adapters for other handheld systems. So we're talking Game Gear, Neo Geo Pocket Color, Atari Lynx. What? The Atari Lynx. I actually have some Atari Lynx games, by the way. I have an Atari Lynx here that we're going to do a video on at some point. But the fact that this thing plays all of those, I'm curious what these cartridge adapters are and what they cost and look like. I didn't see any real information about that so far. But the fact that you already have the system that appears to be high quality, and you just get an adapter, and you can then play Neo Geo Pocket Color games on, wait till you see the screen, by the way, a screen that is set up really well for current times. Okay, it's going to be nice from what I'm seeing. Completely engineered, 2 FPGAs, no emulation. So if you buy cheaper ones, like think of like the Retro Duo, for example. We've also seen some handheld variants from Retrobit and everything. Those run on emulation. This is all hardware, and based on their other ones, they were lag-free gaming through HDMI, and that was already impressive. Now we're going to have it on a screen in front of us in handheld form, and I'm pretty excited. So you can just see how this thing looks. I mean, it looks so good. The Monster Pocket, it really does look great. You can see it has the little shoulder buttons there kind of on the bottom. That's something I want to see how that actually feels in the hand with that placement. I know there's probably not a lot of places they could put it. I almost wonder if it would have been better just on the back. I think I have a emulation handheld that took that route where it was kind of on the back. Maybe that's better at the top. I don't know. Again, I'm gonna have to actually hold it to see how it feels. Here's where things get interesting. The Pocket's designed around a first in-class 3.5 inch 615 pixels per inch LCD with a resolution of, get ready for this, 1600 by 1440. So it has 10 times the resolution of an original Game Boy, which means it will upscale and look good. That's the biggest thing it seems like they want it to go for, specifically for Game Boy games, is that when you pop it in, it's going to look clean. And that is insane. A 1600 by 1440 resolution 3.5 inch LCD. And I've said this before, I've used handheld devices that are designed to play NES games, even some Game Boy games, and I always complained about the screen because you could tell they were cheaper screens. This is what I've always wanted. Like, I've always wanted a Game Boy like this that's high quality, it feels good in the hands, and it's not like a blurry mess of lines on the screen. This sounds like it is going to be a very good gaming experience from what we're hearing. And they say, yeah, we can hardly believe it either, but pro-level color accuracy, dynamic range, and brightness. There's never been a display this advanced in a video game system. That is amazing. Like, I am really happy to hear what they're kind of trying to sell here, and it's going to be interesting when I actually get it, in my hands to really see it. But you can see they lay out a bunch of games that you can play, all the different ones. Game Boy Advance, by the way, could look really, really good here too. I'll be curious about the scaling with that, but man, think about that. Neo Geo Pocket Color. You have to do all kinds of stuff to make that work in a Neo Geo Pocket with a light, and it doesn't always look that great and everything. The Game Gear, think about how Game Gear could look on this thing. Oh man, like, this is, like, my mind is like racing right now thinking about how these games are going to look on that screen. It is some exciting stuff. Now, they do talk about how this is a digital audio workstation, which is great for people who are really into doing chip tunes and stuff like that. I'm not as into that, but it's really cool to know that they're going to be doing that for this as well for people who would like to do that. It does say here a cartridge adapter required for all of those other ones, and I haven't really seen it yet. It says sold separately. And the Pocket's designed for FPGA development. We added a second dedicated FPGA just for developers to develop and port their own cores. I actually sent a message to MVG, or Modern Vintage Gamer, to see what his thoughts were on this, because to think about that, having a separate FPGA just for developers to play around with, that would be very interesting to see what they would do with this and what they might bring over and make work with this device. So this, to me anyway, seems like their most ambitious project yet. This is it. So I am really excited to see if they can pull all of this up. With access to Analogue's proprietary hardware and scalers, we think developers are going to do some amazing things. So you get this, right? And maybe we get some really cool stuff from developers on top of all the games we can play. I am really hyped about this. That is a terrible place for that text because it's right in front of all the cool pictures. Why is that text there? There's no better way to explore all of handheld gaming history than Analogue Pocket. It looks like, I know this is a rendering, but can you imagine how clean that display is going to look right there? It almost looks like that's I wonder if that's glass or if that's plastic over it. If it's glass, that'll be interesting because it could crack. It sounds weird, but maybe like a hard acrylic or plastic, kind of like what's on the Switch, might be better for that. But that would also get some scratches. We'll need screen protectors. We'll need a screen protector for this guy. The D-pad will be an interesting thing to see as well. The shape isn't bad. It does have, it looks like it's thicker on the bottom of it, and then at the top it gets thinner as it goes up. It just looks good, man. It looks like, I guess as we see here, it's going to come in like a black gray, and then it's also going to come in like a just straight white. I think I'd go with the gray. I like the gray. The gray looks good. It almost has like this little green accent almost right there. Not bad, not bad. Also, I'm wondering what the battery life is going to be on this thing as well. I didn't see anything about that either. It looks like we have kind of our settings here with save and restore. So maybe that's for like any kind of save states there. It should have its own menu built in. Here's something really interesting. It's going to have a dock. So think about like what we have for the Switch right now. For this device. Introducing Analog Dock for when you put it down, play your Pocket on the big screen, put your Pocket in the dock, and it outputs directly to your HD TV, and you sync up any wireless 8-bit DOE Bluetooth controller directly to the dock for wireless play. You can also connect controllers via wired USB 2 when it goes out through HDMI. That is a great idea. Now, it does use USB Type-C charging, and that would make sense. I guess they built in some sort of video out as well through USB Type-C. This is awesome. I'm so excited for this. The dock is going to be sold separately. No word on pricing yet. No word on when it's coming out. That's the biggest thing there. But it looks fine, I think. It doesn't really... I'm not really sure how that's going to actually dock. It looks very minimalistic, whereas I think I'd rather it have a little more on the sides, maybe to help hold it up. It seems like you really have to aim that the Analogue Pocket at where you're putting it. If it's just like a USB-C male port just kind of sticking out like that, that might be a little sketchy. So maybe they'll have a little more time with that, but I would recommend to Analogue to double check that, right? Because the Switch is very much so set up so that you can miss badly and it'll still kind of help it in there. Just a suggestion, just suggestion. It is going to be $200 releasing in 2020. Now, I know that is going to sound like a lot, and I agree it's expensive. So here's the thing about Analogue and my experiences with other devices when compared to analogs. They're just higher quality. Like, I've bought cheaper systems that emulate stuff for 70, 80 bucks. And with the quality of those, you do see them break down and you see them have issues and the controllers are terrible and they become junk over time because they're just not built to last very long. Analogue's devices, whether it's the Super NT or the Mega SG, they are designed better. Like, just straight up. They're just flat out designed better. So I am okay, and I've said this before, I'm okay spending more money on a product if it is higher quality and it is designed to last and it has some awesome features. This has a screen that is probably going to look amazing, and I'm sure the rest of it's going to feel really good, especially after seeing their other products. So yeah, I'm okay with that price point, but I do want to get a look at it myself before I can absolutely recommend it at that price, just so I can have all the information and some firsthand knowledge in front of me with it. Then they show more specs down here, which we can go through real quick. Anything major popping out to me? They have the rechargeable battery, but they don't tell us the size of it. I'm curious about the battery life. That's the biggest thing here. All the buttons are mappable, so we can play around with them, move them around and everything. Stereo speakers, micro SD card. Here's the thing about that. The Mega SG, the Super NT had firmware mods done that allowed you to play ROMs off of them. I have a feeling the same thing will happen here. So there you go. Think about that how you will. We might have a point where you literally walk around with an SD card in there and you can have your ROM backups. We'll say ROM backups on there, which for some people that might be massively worth it. That's great that they left that there. USB-C charging, which makes sense considering it does also dock. USB-C, I'm on board with that. Very happy to hear more about that. Original style link plug, so I guess you'll be able to do linked play. That's kind of neat. Wireless would have been really interesting though if they could have made that work. But maybe that's a bit harder. I'm not sure. And then they have some specs about the Analogue dock. What's going to happen there? 2 USB inputs, sure. Bluetooth, wireless controllers, HDMI out, DAC compatible. Everything about this so far looks great. It does say Analogue Pocket does not play ROM files. It plays cartridges. I do want to say, they said this about the other ones, and after a little while, firmware came out that was custom done. It wasn't, I don't think it was done by them officially, but I think a member did it. And it came out and you were able to then play your ROM backups. Exciting stuff here. I'm going to reach out to them and see if we can get a hold of one so we could do a review on it, a video and everything. If you're unsure about Analogue, maybe you haven't really heard of them that much, I did videos previously on the Super NT and the Mega SG. Go check those out because I did a teardown and talked about some of the quality inside of it. But based on those, I am excited for the Analogue Pocket. $200 coming 2020, so we're have to wait a little bit. But exciting stuff here. I've been waiting for a high quality Game Boy of some kind, and this plays so much more. So I'm on board. I'm excited. But let me know what you guys think about this this one down below. I mean, think about this. It also docks and can plug in through a TV, so that means probably some solid capture for anyone who is who plays a lot of these games on stream or anything like that. I know there's also the GameCube, of course, that I use, but to think that you can do Game Gear, you can do Neo Geo Pocket Color, you can do Lynx games, like that kind of opens the door for a lot of people who would normally have to emulate this stuff. That's great too. So it's going to be fun. I'm excited. Let me know what you guys think about this though down below. Make sure you like the video on the way out if you liked it, disliked if not, and I'll see you guys next time.